Hey, everybody. Welcome to the YouTube Lead Gen Show, hosted by Christina Smallhorn and myself, Malcolm Lawson. Christina and I have generated millions of views on YouTube, tens of thousands of subscribers, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions that we earn from leads that we generated from our real estate YouTube channel. And on this show, we mastermind about using YouTube in our real estate business. Today, we got a very special guest. We got Brad McCallum on the show today. Brad is an expert at listing videos. He does these beautiful luxury listing videos, and his YouTube channel is blowing up in just this last few months. And so we're very excited to talk to him about that.
Sexy.
Some very, very sexy videos. Brad, how are you, man?
I'm really good, Malcolm. How you doing, guys? Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You increase the sex factor of our show right here. We're pretty excited about that. But yeah, man. So you do what really fascinates me about you is you've got a different business model than a lot of other people. You know, Christina makes these big videos that get, 1 million views, 1.7 million views. A lot of people are
1.9.
1.9. Wow, almost 2 million. That's crazy. A lot of people do these hyper local channels where it's information about their local community. You've got a completely different business model where you're just making these super sexy luxury listing videos in your city, and you're generating business that way, which is amazing. And so you're generating leads from these videos, right?
Yeah, I would say I probably, to your point, have built a YouTube channel completely backwards to how most people say you should build it. No one wants to watch, essentially a 3-minute ad about a house that they don't intend on buying, right? And so I just, I kind of started off building that kind of content with the intention of shifting more towards that informational, top 5, these things about my city, like the stuff that I think people are actually searching for. However, the business that we've generated from YouTube, from our listing videos, just keeps putting more listings on my plate. And because we have sort of a high touch, high level of service to each listing video, it's hard for us to launch much more than 1 or 2 videos in a week. And if we do that, then there's virtually no time left over for the actual, moving to Calgary or those kind of videos that I would love to create. But then again, I think the goal of it was to sell the homes and get the listings anyways. So the channel seems to be producing that.
Right. Yeah, it's a big balance, man. Balancing, like, time is literally the biggest factor on YouTube, and this whole game is where we put our time. And yeah, like one big mistake I have is I put my time in too many places. Being a real estate agent, too many YouTube channels, writing blog posts, websites, all this stuff. And if you just put your time in like one specific thing, that's really the secret to all of this.
Or you could delegate your time to other stuff, like delegate it to other, like a virtual assistants for like making certain kinds of things. I know how Brad is though, because he's much like I myself. Like, yeah, you could hire somebody to make your thumbnails. You could do that, but every time they do that, you're like, this looks like crap. It's so like one dimensional. It does not what I want at all. I'd rather spend the hour to make it look nice because this is garbage. And I know a lot of people do that, but I personally have yet to seen a thumbnail designer that I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It's kind of all very generic, very like, I've seen this 1,000 times. It isn't anything that grabs my attention. My opinion.
Well, my whole take on this whole thing, the reason why we do so much of it ourselves, and to be fair, I don't do it all myself anymore. I do have a videographer that's been working with me for about 8 months. I still do, but because my business has went like this, it's not like he could just step in and start producing what I wanted him to produce. So basically, I started doing listing videos. I started up on YouTube about 2.5 years ago, and I think so, around there. And I just started doing listing videos for the purpose of I wanted people in my sphere of influence to reach out to me and let me say like, hey, Brad, I saw that video. That was really cool. My sister's thinking of selling her house, whatever it was, because I wasn't comfortable going up to my sphere of influence and saying like, hey, by the way, can we just shift this conversation towards real estate? And so I can tell you that I can help you out, right? I did not want to sell to my friends or family. I much would rather them just know that I was actively working in the market. So I made videos for that. Then I also started making the listing videos based on the idea that it actually would help my clients sell their homes, and also from my own personal experience, pre having a real estate license, that realtors just didn't do enough to actually sell the home, and that they were all the same, and that all the stuff they were selling, the only thing that they were selling when they were getting a listing was the actual homeowners, not the actual house. Yeah. And I just hated that part of it. So in my mind, I just felt like, I'm just going to turn off my notifications here. In my mind, I just felt like, you know what, I want to kind of go all in on it. I went really high level, high touch. I bought the gear. I started seeing some of what that stuff looked like when I started getting some of the shots on the gimbal, and I just kind of got excited about that. I geeked out on YouTube channels that were filmmaking, not other realtors, actually filmmaking channels. And I just tried to kind of, do one new thing with every video. Just like learn one thing rather than try to, be overwhelmed by editing software. But now we're at a point where our listing videos actually, we have fans. And that's the weirdest thing on earth, because outside of my world, outside of the real estate world, my friends that don't watch my stuff are still just like, yeah, but you're a realtor. That's gross. Why you sell real estate? It's not this, so much of our marketing is about how amazing we all are. So when they see yeah, well, exactly. Right. So much of the real estate industry's marketing is about success and standing in front of Lamborghinis that they rented and stuff. Right. The dealership dropped off at the listing. So I just thought, okay, let's make our stuff look cool and sexy. Let's make the homes look sexy. Let's put in good music. And then Teal and I, by just sort of, association with it, people will assume we're successful and that we have, that we're a luxury agent or that kind of stuff. And believe it or not, it works. And it works best when we're not pretending to be luxury agents. It works best when we are ourselves walking through a luxury home. In fact, some of the first videos that we put out, people were like, it looks like you guys broke into the house. That's the dialogue between you and your wife are not like you belong there. And I'm like, well, that's actually how the viewer is seeing it, right? The viewer doesn't oh, this is a $6.5 million house. If I acted like I belong there, that would be nuts. I don't belong in a place that's worth that, right? So we're having a lot of fun on YouTube, and that our approach is now starting to generate. We get leads 4 or 5 times a week from it, and various things. But the biggest thing that we've been able to do is, as we've built an audience, is been able to parlay that into working with builders and investors.
Well, I have to ask a question.
Sure.
So, I mean, you say that you don't fit in there in 6 million. I don't know about you. Maybe it's just me, but I don't find that people that own $6 million houses are any different than the people that own $300,000 houses. I've seen people in $6 million houses come out in their PJs answering the door just as much as I've seen somebody in a $70,000 house coming out in their PJs answering the door.
In fact, the tell that you don't belong in a $6.5 million house is when you pretend
that you belong in a $6 million house.
That what someone who belongs in a $6 million house acts like. That's the tell.
Right. Like you were saying, that, gross, Lamborghini in the driveway and the slow-mo with the high heel pump that costs, ridiculous amount of money that goes into the Lamborghini, and they pull down their shades. Yeah, I get it. I think that was a thing. That was a time that there was a time for that, but I think that time is gone.
Yeah.
I think that time is gone.
I mean, we still see it in our market, but I think what actually what works for what we're doing is just yesterday or 2 days ago, we released a video for a $280,000 entry level townhome. It's 40 years old. It's in an okay area, but we gave that listing video the same care and attention we would, $1 million listing video. And for me, the reason we do that is because that keeps our message pure. That is very much so. If you're a client of ours, you get this level of service.
I agree with you completely. That's been a discussion on another live stream that I was like, somebody said, well, I just don't think that I need to do that for our condo. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm like, I've done it for a mobile home that costs $45,000.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't care. And you know what's so shocking? You know, because you were saying that you make listing videos that are not like necessarily how to buy a house videos. I make those how to buy a house videos. The house that's in the background is for sale. And
Yeah.
I get phone calls. There's like, hey,
Right.
that house that you're standing in, is that for sale? I'm like, yes, matter of fact, it is.
Yeah.
It works because
You're
you're
kind of
not
combining two
right.
genres there.
Yeah, because you're not shoving it down their throat. You're telling them facts about a house, but you're not saying, you know, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me. So
Yeah.
it makes them more engaged in the video. So that works too. That's just one more style. But I like the fact that you pay that kind of attention, whether it's a, you know, $250,000 house or it's a $6 million house. They get the same kind of care. That's how it should be.
And Brad, kind of going back to what you were saying before about how most real estate agents, the only difference is that how good they are at selling themselves. What I tell people is that I'm terrible at sales. I am not good at a listing presentation, selling myself, but I'm good at marketing. And that's the big difference in this kind of new generation of agents. We're all marketers. You know, we attract clients to us rather than salespeople who go out and like try to con people into using us and trick them and using us and everything. And that's kind of the biggest distinction is that we're marketers now and not just salespeople.
We can smell that too.
Yeah.
And so that's my argument, right? And this is one of the reasons why we keep pushing so hard, you know, to be creative in the listing videos that we create and to keep our level of quality up. And if anything, just kind of hit more on the gas and keep doing that is because there other agents that are coming up now, even in my own market, are trying to use video more often. And I get agents in my market reaching out all the time, right?
Right.
And other home builders that, you know, have in-house sales staff saying like, who does your video? Who does your marketing? Can we get you to, you know, could you pass along their name, right? But in almost all those cases, the crazy difference is that even if someone else gets into video right now in my market and releases a video, it could get very little traction because, you know, creating a good video is just one part of it, then leveraging that video and then having an audience already in place to consume that video and already have a spot in the YouTube algorithm for them to feed it out to everyone. All of a sudden I can say like, listen, if the only goal, like I'm not going to be able to sell your house. I'm not going to be able to talk someone into buying your home that doesn't want to buy your house. What I can do though is expose it to more people in the very best light possible when it looks its best, when you've cleaned up once and have thousands of people see the benefit of your one clean or one presentation of the cool music, of the nice camera work. And I'll actually be able to use your words as as a home seller, your words that you want to talk about at your home. Things like, well, you know, we just put in a new furnace, we just did a new roof, the kind of things that don't necessarily show up that people don't want to read in the MLS list, but like the actual selling of the house. I can present your home, whereas most selling agents don't have an audience, even if they do a video. And if they don't do a video, it's just the pictures and the two paragraphs on the MLS listing, and it's all the same superlatives, and it's all the same, like, won't last long, must see, custom kitchen, all that stuff. So at the end of the day, I actually have an opportunity to sell the actual home. Like I actually get to talk to the buyer. And that is like the huge distinction in my mind of the extra value that we get to bring. So now that we're bringing this to our market, we can say, listen, we can expose your home to tens of thousands more people through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through Facebook, through YouTube. And really, that's the only goal. Like there's the MLS and the standard channels, but there's also all this extra that we can bring.
Do you still see in your market, because I see it in my market, where people
love you, Craig. Sorry.
That's okay. They'll have like the link in the MLS for a virtual tour, and then you click on that link, and it's still to this day I still see the pictures moving around with the crappy
slideshow.
Yeah, the crappy dental music, you know, like when you go to the dental office, you know, it's just it's the same picture you just saw on the MLS. I'm like, how is this a virtual tour? This isn't a virtual tour. This is just moving pictures with shitty music.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. This with Brad being up in Canada, his beautiful listing videos actually go into his MLS listing. So anybody on the MLS portal up there, they get to watch his videos.
We can't do that here. We
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to have a specific type of MLS video where we can't physically be in the video at all.
Yeah.
So
They have to be unbranded.
So I understand that up here, that's the other reason why we're continually pushing so hard in a year like this, because we see that videos coming, and we also know that could change in our market. Like at some point in time, they could say, you know what, we want to like have the unbranded videos. We don't want like the actual agent in them. But right now on realtor.ca, which is Canada's largest database for searching for homes, right, for the MLS, when you click on one of my listings or any listing with a video, the first image that shows up out of the 50 photos we're allowed to upload is the video link. And so it's just an embedded video from YouTube, like so it'll be like our thumbnail is the very first thing that comes up. So it's cool because people will hit play. And, obviously realtor.ca realizes that people are engaging with video far more. And so that's why they're putting that before the 50 photos. And it's like I tell my clients, I'm like, listen, we will spend 25 hours putting together a 7 or 8 minute video for your home. And I can still say, like, I can watch the analytics on YouTube and I'll see that most people are only getting 45 to 52% of the way through the video. So yeah, if we didn't do the video and we just had photos and you think, wow, I've got this gorgeous house, people aren't getting 22 clicks deep to find your picture of the renovated ensuite. Like it's not happening. And so once you understand the analytics of it all, you realize how much of an advantage it is to have a really high quality video on your listing, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So we got a question here for you. Ellen says, I would love to hear from Brad how he leverages those listing videos in other places. So you mentioned LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. What's your strategy on those ones?
Well, I'd say, with LinkedIn, wherever I post, I just think of the audience, right? So like LinkedIn, oftentimes I'm not trying to sell that audience on LinkedIn the home necessarily. I'm trying to present the home and talk about the business side, right? Because I think the audience on LinkedIn is more interested in the entrepreneurship. They're more interested in like the media side, the links that you go to sort of represent your clients. And without being like, oh, patting yourself on the back, it's more about like, hey, listen, this is like, putting a video together like this takes this much time to shoot, this long to edit. The reason we do that is because we think it gives our clients an advantage in a difficult market. So we'll speak in terms of what that audience on LinkedIn is. Facebook, I find it's like super depressing to go look on Facebook and see how much of all of our hard-earned content is actually watched. Like, 100%. I've got a little show with Bob Tompkins and our stuff on podcasts. We'll have like a 15th of the reach in an actual physical podcast. But those are the ones that people are listening to all the way to the end. Online, we're just finding it's like, the vast majority of people get a minute or 2 minutes in, and that's it, because they weren't going to Facebook for that. So I've just found that the way I'm actually leveraging those videos to answer Ellen's question better than just say on other platforms is how I actually leverage them in public. And so like when I'm in the flesh with someone at an open house, for example, I am always sharing my YouTube channel and that video with people as a way to close the lead. They come into the open house. Hey, have you guys had a chance to see the video? Oh yeah, no, we did see the video. Okay, well, I've got another one. I've actually got a couple up in this community kind of thing. You can kind of walk through the homes of different properties if you're interested. See what they look like at different price points. All of a sudden, they'll pass along their email. I can send them out the video that way. So that's one way I leverage it. I do so at my listing presentations, having a strong YouTube channel and the viewership and the basic analytics of like, my channel had 3,300 views in the last 48 hours. Those views average 2.5 minutes. Think about how much that's just ads for homes. Like it's just me. Like people are actually, and YouTube puts ads before my ads, like to sell the homes. Like it's nuts, right? But people realize that it's now becoming like entertainment for them, right? And the more that people are entertained by these, the better. The more reach and fingers that kind of reaches out into all these other little people's spheres of influence, and they start talking about you. So I would say that I've been able to leverage my videos as well in emails to clients, with leads, with everyone. I just find it so much easier. People will, sometimes send you a lead or send you an email. Hey, I'd like to book a showing on this property. And you can send them an email 2 minutes back later, like, great, when would work for you? And then they just ghost you, like, oh my gosh, I didn't think you'd respond or something. And you're like, what? Well, really? It's because no one wants to be sold to all the time. So even when they ask, even when they give you permission to reach out to them, they still don't always follow back up. So what I use is that an opportunity to say, like, oh, thank you so much. I'd love to show you the house. Have you had a chance to see the tour? Check out the video right here. And almost always they'll say, yes, I saw the video. It was super fun. It's one of the reasons why I'm calling. So I've got a good anecdote to send back to my clients, my sellers. Or B, they're like, no, I haven't seen it. Oh, that's really, really cool. Or C, I didn't see the video. I didn't realize the house was like that. Yeah, I'm not interested, which is also really good because I don't want to go spend my Thursday evening with someone who doesn't want to buy that house.
Yeah. And so I tell people that all the time, that video is great for lead generation, but it's also can use it as a tool with your lead conversion as well. And then you also mentioned earlier that you originally were using it as a tool to get more sphere of influence and past client referrals as well. So even if people are like brand new to YouTube and they haven't really figured out the lead generation part, I still tell them, get on YouTube and just use it to increase your lead conversion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of why I like having the informational videos. So if somebody says, hey, look, we're thinking about moving to Annapolis. Hey, fantastic. Here's my video all about moving to Annapolis with the best neighborhoods. Like, that absolutely helps me with my lead conversion. That stuff kind of shows your credibility with that.
I think that's a really great point. Like, lead generation versus lead conversion. I would say my listing videos probably assist most in the lead conversion side of things. Byrne is asking a question about, do I attract mostly sellers or do I get buyers as well from them? Well, my goal is to attract sellers, right? That's what I'd like to do, right? Because sellers, after I've got their home listed, don't want me out with them in the evenings or late on the weekends unless we're helping them buy a house. So I want to be able to be at home creating a listing video while other agents are working their evenings and weekends out in a snowy winter, showing the homes that I'm selling, right? Like, that's the goal. I want the sellers. And the funny thing is as soon as someone is watching the market in their own community, they're seeing like, people are doing their own research all the time, right? So they're like, oh, a new property came up, a few blocks away. We've been thinking of selling, and then they see the video. Well, that's a good excuse to give us a call because they want that kind of representation for themselves, right? And so it just gets you that extra little bit. And all of us as agents have to figure out, how do we get around that stupid statistic that says 70% of clients go with the first agent they meet with? Like, how do we get around that? I want to be the first agent they meet with, even if it's just digitally, So that's sort of my approach on that front. But we get buyers from it because I think the mistake all marketers make is that they believe that that you have to be super direct and super literal in everything you want, right? Like, I don't have to make a video saying moving to Calgary to have leads reach out to me and saying, hey, I'm interested in moving to Calgary. They see me as a realtor working in the community, selling homes all over the city, right? I don't have to dub myself a luxury agent. People are doing that for us because they see us representing beautiful homes. I don't have to try and create marketing just to help someone buy. Even if I've got a marketing that shows that I'm helping someone sell a home, people are still like, someone made this point to me. I think it might have been you, Malcolm. Who was it? Or maybe it was you, Christina. But someone had said that it was regarding my website. I was like, oh, should I, really highlight that I do video on my homepage of my website? And you're like, listen, people like, sellers are buyers first, right? So they're always looking to buy a property first. Actually, that was Julie Patterson. And I thought, oh, that's a really great point. But everyone's paying attention. Like, where do they go? Like, are they seeking out like videos, promotional videos of individual realtors? Like, who wants to watch that? No one, right? They're just looking at getting educated on the market, whether it's the communities or the schools or the restaurants or the homes in the area, whatever it is. And that's where I want to be found. I don't have to define like, hey, this is point A, and then you're going to move you to the next step. People just see the stuff and they're like, oh yeah, Brad's in real estate, and just go from there. But I'd say the one other thing that like Ellen mentioned about leveraging videos, and this is what I think is a distinct advantage of listing videos, because there are some distinct disadvantages too. The distinct disadvantage is you don't get as many just general leads of people moving to the city. But the distinct advantage is that if you do create a high quality content, like a video content, you're going to, of your listings, you can use that to actually piggyback onto the marketing that builders and investors and architects and designers want for their own company, right? Because they want marketing, they want stuff that they can share. And so they share my listing videos because it helps build their brand and awareness of their brand. And that's where you can really start to leverage out. It's not just attract the next homeowner, but maybe attract the next builder who's got 10 deals to do next year.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you're building professional relationships with your listing videos as well. Christina's got a fantastic professional relationship that she's built with her YouTube channel.
That is a lucrative deal. that was one that fell in my lap. Thank God. And it's funny because they reached out to other people and they never were as successful with those other creators as they were with me. So that worked out. So now they always want me. So I was like,
okay, can you tell me more about this, Christina?
So that foldable house video.
Yeah.
That company, they have a affiliate link in there. So I get a portion of someone that every time that they click on that affiliate link and they fill out that form, they get a discount when the house is delivered to their house, to the location. But I also get money per click, per lead that actually fills in the form. Yeah. So I get that. And then once it's delivered, then I get another check on top of it.
Hey, that's fantastic. Hey. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Mm-hmm. If there's no questions from the audience, because I think most people know what I do, the videos that I shoot, all that stuff. I'm kind of curious about your recommendations for me on how I can begin to sort of diversify and add in a little bit more content. So one of the things I posted this week on the Facebook page was a vlog on your Facebook group with the vlog. I know.
I liked it.
Okay. I added it on my channel. It definitely, I added 2 videos that day, a few hours apart. One was a listing video, what people expected. And the other one was a vlog. And the other one is, the listing video is definitely probably 70% more views. The vlog has had a lot of good engagement, right. Actually more engagement than I normally get on a pure listing video. And we're slowly trying to look at how do we add in a bit more content so we don't have to keep up with this pace of always doing YouTube listing videos.
Okay, I have something to say. So did you release them on the same day?
I did.
Mistake number 1.
Yes, I figured that.
Yeah, mistake number 1. Number 2, you can't say something is a success or failure unless you've done it at the same time at minimum 3 times in a row.
Okay.
So you have to okay, so you release that on X day. So you're going to release another one about 3 weeks out, 21 days later on this, another vlog the same way, same kind of deal. Then you're going to do it again. Now, if it continues to gain views, gain traction, then you have something that's working. Is it going to blow up? Maybe, maybe not. But if it's decreasing in views, you're losing subscribers after doing it at least 3 times. That's it. You cash it out. It's not working for you anymore.
Yeah. So let me give you my opinion on that. So with the vlog type content, that's not typically for any channel, really. It's not really discoverable content. Generally speaking, it's probably not going to rank in search for anything. And unless it's something really exciting, it may not do very well with your non-subscribers. But it's going to build that relationship much, much deeper with your audience. And that's how you build those super fans with your audience. And so
not the only way to build it. I'm sorry, Malcolm, but not the only way to build a channel is through search. There's other ways to build a channel. So you could actually get more views, more discoverability being suggested and browsed before you could ever be searched.
It gets tricky though when you're trying to build an audience. It kind of depends. If you're trying to build specifically a Calgary audience and really just people in your area, it gets a little tricky with that.
Yeah, but Javier Vendana is not a search channel.
Yeah, he's kind of a national channel. He has an audience all around
Yeah,
the
and
country.
everybody knows he's in Phoenix and he doesn't shove it down on everybody's throat. So
one thing you could do with your vlogs though is I started shooting like vlogs, but I'm also exploring something cool in my area. So like I'll go to a cool national park and shoot a vlog of you in that national park. So people are kind of getting that value of discovering that area, as well as kind of building that relationship with you. So if there's any like ice skating rinks or just cool events going on, you could shoot a vlog and you're kind of combining two things: information about this local event or local park or attraction, as well as that vlog where you're building that personal relationship with them.
Yeah,
more interesting too.
I was going to say my biggest concern with even posting the vlog. So I've got another kind of slightly off base, slightly off. I actually think it's going to be really interesting for people, but it's basically, there's no editing. There's no fancy editing. I helped some guys buy a home that's going to be just torn down, and it had squatters living in it, and it was just unbelievable. And so we bought the property in this great community, and we never actually stepped foot in it. So the day I gave them the keys, I just recorded that. We just pulled up to the house, and I said, okay, we've never stepped foot in this house, but when we peeked through the windows, it looked a little bit dodgy. And we go through the house, and it's like this 8-minute, like it's nasty. It's scary. It's like wild, like who's living there. It's horrible. Like you can hear stuff rummaging around under all the garbage. And then there's like, we go up to the one bedroom, and my client who bought the place, he's like, Brad, before you take a look in there, someone must have just left. And we look, and it's like someone probably left that morning for the day. And so it was this like 8-minute video. It's kind of shaky. It's not definitely our style, but it's interesting because it's like an investment property. We're going to sort of chart and vlog sort of with them taking down the house and eventually building 2 single family homes on it. So I think it could be an interesting thing for my audience to watch. Like it's just 8 minutes of fun, but like to watch it. But does that have a place on my channel? How do you diversify your content when you've got already almost 3,000 subscribers who are like, yeah, you just make listing videos. We want to tour homes with you.
Well, I know how this works. I mean,
Right.
it like you have what they call, like Daryl Eves calls it, buckets of content. So you have listing videos that you're supposed to release at a certain time, and then you have another bucket of content that you release at another time. I do not believe that you are. What sometimes they will say, you're separating your audience. Mm-hmm. I don't think you are, because they always are centered around Calgary, and even your listing videos has a somewhat of a touch of a vlog style to it. It has a little bit of that, but it's not all about you. It's about the house. The vlog is a little bit more about you and less about the house, but it's also about the clients and everything else. I still think it ties into everything. You just got to put it out as, like you have to keep a regular schedule. You can't just haphazardly throw them out there and see what sticks. You're just going to have to keep to that regular specific schedule to put them out.
And yeah, I mean, to her point, I would come up with a couple of buckets of content or pillars of content or like series on your show. So your listing videos, obviously one bucket of content. You have very similar thumbnails and titles and styles to that. And you could have a vlog bucket. And like she said, do at least 3 in that bucket to kind of test it out. And then you could have a third bucket of just informational videos.
If you can do them.
Cycle through these types of these videos. And yeah, you really just have to kind of test things out. Jeremy Knight, he uploaded a video just the other day, and he's testing out something completely different. He has no B-roll, no graphics, no nothing. It's literally just a 10-minute video of him just talking to the camera. And he posted in the group the other day. He's kind of nervous, like, should I add something to it? It doesn't feel right. And we told him, like, man, just test it out, see how well it performs. And it's blowing up for his channel right now. It's got like 2,000 views within the first 48 hours or so.
I think he's gotten like 40 subscribers from that video.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
I want to challenge you with something too, Brad, because I know you spend a lot of time in a house, and I know that you're like getting these perfect shots and everything. Why don't you use that house again to make it into an informational video as well? You're there. That is the space. Do both. You have the ability to do 2 videos in one house. So do it. You have the time. You're there. You might as well film it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. See, one of the things that we're looking at doing, and I don't know, I'm kind of curious of your guys' opinion on this, is in my market, I've never released a piece of content that says, hey, we use video marketing for all of our properties. Like I've never released anything promotional or like ad-like. And so I don't know how, if you guys do that kind of stuff or would use YouTube for that ever. I don't. I just keep kind of going on the idea that they'll reach out to me if they want to work with me. And yesterday, one of our city's biggest home builders just reached out to us about like, hey, who does your marketing? Could we meet? Is there some way we could all collab, kind of thing? So there's some of that stuff's kind of coming. And one of the things that we're doing with a new listing that we've got coming out is we've got 4 or 5 new homes, and these are new homes that are staged. They're basically little sets, like little home sets, and so we can go whenever and film in there and speak in them and all that. So we're actually trying to do that with some market updates and like that. I don't really want to do market updates, but I got some ideas on how to kind of try and make them fun at least. But I don't know. We'll test that. I've got an agent that works with me, and I'd really like to integrate her more into the video as well, just so she kind of gets a little bit of the same sort of fan factor going around her, because she's a cool girl. And that's what we're struggling with right now, is like, how do we find places for her to get in there? She's also blonde, and my wife is blonde, and I don't want to confuse the audience. And I did like earlier this year with one video. So,
well, could you have like your wife and her do like one segment or one bucket of content?
Yeah.
Like at least like once a month, just them two. So you guys, they know you're a team. So
Yeah.
they've seen your other videos where you're all together, but just have those two together, making whatever, honestly, just let them do what they want to do. You film it and everything, but let them come up with their own bucket of content, their own stamp of branding for the channel itself. I think that would be a smart idea.
And I like Christina's idea about filming the educational videos within the house. I'm thinking then the call to action at the end of that video, be like, hey, if you guys want to see the video tour of this property, click right here. And
that's great.
2 videos for each house, and you can kind of connect them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fantastic signal to YouTube.
One of the things that we're working on is, I know this is about YouTube, but when we're at the house, we're trying to also record like a little basic thing, well, because we're already mic'd up and everything, just to say something like, hey, we've got an open house coming up this weekend. If you check the details below, you can find the information there. So we're trying to bookend it with like 4 or 5 of these little sub pieces of content that we can use to leverage our full listing tour or listing video on places like Instagram stories and IG, that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you where you can pick up another loyal fan base, and you're going to die when I tell you this, but I'm shocked by it, is TikTok. That is one of the fastest, easiest ways to grow an audience, and they're not kids. That's a falsehood.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, they're the most engaged, loyal people. I'm excited about it. I have another idea for a channel going, and I'm starting 100% on TikTok. There's no doubt in my mind that, like, I see what goes on there. It's amazing, amazing.
So I have a question for you about TikTok, and this has been my big issue with it. It's not so much the it's more about like how to leverage it, because I've seen some people on there leverage it really simply. They've got fun, engaging videos, they get lots of exposure, and it just is like leads them right to the YouTube channel in their profile, right? Just right to it. Right. So I see the benefit in that. I'm wondering though, is TikTok, could I be successful just repurposing the content that I already have for it? Or do you think it's far better to actually just do like,
it's
just
so
like
low key on there? Honestly, it's the most low key, most connective thing. So the more like polished and overdone and oversaturated it is, people are like, ugh, it's a commercial. Yeah. But the more like instant and raw, like you're with your phone, a little shaky, a little dog jumping in the background, a fly flies up your nose, that kind of stuff, they love it. Like the more real it is, the better it is. It's so the barrier to entry is so low. You can film it on a potato, and people love it because they're I think people on that specific platform are so overdone with commercialism that kind of, they want something authentic and real and raw where they feel like they can connect with a person. So if you're looking for a loyal fan base to start a channel that you want to personally connect with, I'm telling you, TikTok is the place. And people will argue with me, but there is not just young people on that. It's such horse poop.
Yeah.
Same thing about YouTube. They always ask me, oh, is it just millennials? Is it just like 20-year-old YouTubers from YouTube? Like, no, man. If you use Google, you use YouTube. My dad's 65. He uses YouTube. He's got his favorite YouTubers that he watches.
Yeah, and then there's some people I literally got in a fight with somebody that is supposedly a social media expert that literally said the only thing that's good on YouTube is if I'm going to fix a light bulb or I need something in my car. I'm like, are you out of your mind? What is wrong with you? Like, he's like, nobody uses YouTube for anything else. I'm like, you may feel that way, but you're dead wrong.
I know a lot of people now. I don't know if it's, I mean, YouTube's had a real moment this last year, like a real moment.
In your opinion, it's been a moment.
Okay. So what I would say is that I think YouTube's it's reached out more into the mainstream. Like I think people who would have said a year ago, I don't watch much YouTube, now will say I don't watch much TV. Like I don't watch many series at all now. I would much rather opt in for 5 minutes of this or 10 minutes of that. Or I couldn't sleep this morning. I woke up and watched an 18-minute, like, is there a Canadian housing crash video coming? And the whole time thinking, I could be doing this better than this guy, right?
And you do. Like, if you're that fired up about it and you see a video like that, do it. Make it better than what those people did. And you know, it may or may not do well, but at least you got off your chest, because it makes it feel, once you get that done, you're like, well, that's good. I got that off my chest. You know?
Like, TVs are a growing platform for YouTube. There is soon going to be more people get views from TVs than from desktop. It's not quite there yet, but like every smart TV now comes with YouTube, and YouTube's trying to compete with Hulu and Netflix and all those. They have their YouTube Premium. I think they changed the name to.
I have it. Yeah, it used to be YouTube Red.
Yeah, $10 a month, and everything's ad free, and they have like serialized shows on there now. And it's going to become a bigger and bigger platform, more mainstream.
You may not know this, but YouTube actually has a cable. Like I have my YouTube, I have YouTube Premium, like you said, but I also have YouTube TV, which is all the regular network channels. So I have another YouTube.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So Brad, going back to TikTok, earlier this year on my outdoor channel, I made a video about different like face masks that you can wear. And on YouTube, that video got like 900,000 views. And my cousin or my nephew told me that he saw me on TikTok. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not on TikTok. And he showed me, and it turned out somebody took my video from YouTube and cut out a section of it and then uploaded it to TikTok. And it got like 1 million views on TikTok. And it was just like a 30-second segment from one of my YouTube videos. So talking about repurposing your content, I think you absolutely could do that. I think there's definitely an opportunity there. And it was just my normal YouTube video shot here in my studio.
So I'm not sure about how you guys feel about this, but I kind of feel like the next 4 or 5 months are pretty key for a lot of people to build their audience, either get started or do something, because I think over the last 4 months, everyone in the States, at least for real estate, has been crazy. And even in our market, which is probably the most depressed market in all of North America, I've still been super, super busy. So a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do that I wasn't like contractually bound to do, like a listing video, I just got pushed. But now over the next 4 to 5 months, I feel like a real pressure to kind of create a bunch of content. And so one of the things that I think that I'm going to have done is we actually have a program in Canada where they have now released, or they're now taking people who are brand new, just finished, got done a marketing course, and because of COVID, no one's really hiring. So my wife's sister, younger sister, a 20-year-old girl, super talented marketer. She's the government of Canada is giving me 5 months of fully subsidized wages. So I'm getting a 5-month intern to help on our marketing. So very soon we're going to have a sort of a team of 4, and we're trying. And my wife is asking me, she's like, "What are the things that we should be doing with that, like with that new resource?" And one of the challenges that I'm trying to do is get them to sort of like just gather the content, like gather the information and the graphics for like the moving to Calgary video and Calgary versus Edmonton, just some of the research stuff behind it, so I can then sit and just kind of aggregate it all together.
I have an idea. And I'm
Okay,
thinking
I
in
wanna
my
hear it.
head. Okay, so you're this new girl. She's 20 years old. She's
Yeah.
starting this new thing. She's for 5 months. She's interning with you. She
Yes.
needs to document that shit on TikTok.
Yes.
She needs to do that, and then it will drip into your business.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
she could talk about all the stuff that she's doing for you guys, all the stuff she's learning, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, like they're doing this stuff for this video. You got to see this thing. Like, who does this stuff?" And
Yeah.
and then it's not forced. It's just like, "Ooh, well, let me go over there and see what she's doing or what they're doing." So
Yeah.
I think you got yourself a little gem there.
So I've got another good idea for you.
Okay, I want to hear it.
All right. So I've been really focused on blogging the last like 2 months, and I've had a lot of success getting my blogs to rank on Google as well. So if you type in "living in Maryland," my article "Pros and Cons of Living in Maryland" rank on the first page of Google, as well as my YouTube videos. I have 2 spots on the first page of Google for living in Maryland. And so what I've been doing is I want to have more articles like that ranking on Google. And so I went to Upwork. I tried out a few writers, and I found some writers, and I've been having them pretty much write guides about living in different regions in my area, different cities in my area, and they're doing all that research for me. So they're doing top 10 attraction or top like 3 attractions, some restaurants, the different parks in these cities, the different cost of living and everything. And they're doing that research for me, writing an article. And now I've pretty much have an outline for a YouTube video right there, an informational YouTube video, which I'm then going to embed on that article. And that's a whole nother thing, the Google algorithm, but having YouTube videos embedded in your your articles is fantastic for the Google algorithm as well. So anyway, that's something else that she could do. If she's doing that research, have her type that up into an article, post it on your website, and then use that as an outline.
That is not top living in Maryland. You're not on the top.
It's on the bottom of the first page of Google.
No, bottom. Okay, because I'm like, you're not in the top.
What's the very last one? I think it has like 10th spot.
Niche is the last. Niche is the last video. I mean, last article, and then their pros and cons video. Then unboxing Maryland, and then best places to live in Maryland. So then under that, I sold my house in Maryland
versus mobile.
Maybe, but yeah.
But yeah, anyway, for a bunch of other search terms as well, I've had articles that are ranking on Google, and so that's how I'm leveraging a writer to do that research for me for different videos.
I totally would do that.
Yeah,
because like writing articles sucks. It's hard.
The part is doing the research. Like you can come up with the idea, but then sitting down and researching and writing the script. And if somebody could kind of write that script for you, more or less, why not? I'm spending maybe $40 and I can get somebody to write, an 800-word article about a city or a region or something. And now I'm like, I have her right now.
How much did you say?
Like $40.
Okay. Yep.
I'm paying $15 an hour. Yep. And so then I just found somebody else in one of my local Facebook groups. So I'm paying $15 an hour just through Venmo. And so that she's writing an article. She wrote an article, top 5 dog parks in Annapolis, Maryland. And I plan on turning that into a video. She's already done that.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. Like TikTok, dogs win. So if you could like throw a TikTok out and go like here's some of the dog parks. You want to see some more? Go to my YouTube channel.
Right.
I'm telling you. I as crazy as it sounds, and I would have been the first one to go, it's for kids and girls that are shaking their booty butt. It's not anymore. There's lots of people that are on there that are in all sorts of ages.
I believe it. TikTok's fun.
It is fun. Like, and I've been known to been like, oh my God, I spent an hour on here. Get me off of it.
Yeah, me too.
If it's grabbing my attention for that long, then it's somewhere that we need to be. I think
we do have like 5 questions in here.
Okay.
All right. Brad, do you script out any part of your videos or use outlines? Love the flow of your videos when you're taking the viewer on the tours. Did you script or do an outline for your videos?
I think everyone involved in it hates that I don't do scripts. When I do a script, it'll usually be only after the fact. Like when we're actually editing the video together, and I'll be like, I realized there was a couple of points here or a couple of sentences needed just to bring, to connect the video, part A to part C. So I'll maybe just write out 2 sentences, but it'll almost always be based on the duration of the video and the flow of the song. So I'm like, oh, the song breaks down and then it goes to a crescendo here in 9 seconds. That's 9 seconds of copy that I need to write and upload. When I'm on site, what we've done is we've started really shifting from our like 3-minute high energy videos to something a little bit more watchable where it doesn't feel quite as frenetic for that period of time, to something that's like 5 to 9 minutes long. And I can tell you, like, my watch time has gone through the roof because of it. Like, it's just so much more. And the, like, you know, like even the little bit of AdSense that I make, which, you know, just peaked the other day, I think at $93 for the last 28 days. So I'm pretty excited about that.
$100.
Hey, it's not nothing. It's not nothing. Right. So, but you know, when I see that stuff, I'm just like, people will watch 8 or 9 minutes of the video. Like, a lot of people are getting to the end, like 40% are getting to the end of this. And it surprises me, but I watched Ryan Serhant's videos. So a lot of what I'm doing in mine is like, when I'm in the house, is it's the 4th or the 5th take that we use, because I'll just say, like, let's just go with it. Right. And then I'll be like, oh, come in the door, and I'll say something like, no. Or I finish the thought where I'm still thinking about the next thing. I'll like, well, why don't we head to the kitchen? And I'm like, okay, well, that didn't make sense. Like, that sounds weird. Like, so it's usually the 4th or 5th take. And that, I find if I spend more time on it, then it's just like, we won't ever get it done. So we just have to kind of do it. We just summarize, like, what are the points that we want to mention on this floor. And then we usually, because like I get back and we look at the footage, and some days you're tired, some days you're super energetic, some days, you know, it's kind of more morose. And so I just pick music that sort of fits the pacing of what I was talking about. Right. And so if the pacing is a little bit more energetic, and we're smiling, and I was really on that day, we'll use something energetic about it. But
what do you use for your music?
I use, I shouldn't even say, I use Music Bed.
Music Bed?
Music Bed. It is.
Never even heard of it.
Gosh, it's amazing. It's just, you know, when you're on like Epidemic Sound, for example, and you're like, man, there's a lot of house, like a lot of dance and techno music. It's got a very European flair to it. And then I go to Artlist, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of this just seems to just miss. There's just something about Music Bed that seems to get, in my mind, they've got really rich stuff.
I use Soundstripe.
Oh, I've never even checked them out.
Yeah, I like it because I have quirky, so they have the whole list of quirky music. I'm like, oh my gosh, this playlist was made for me. This is exactly what I need. So I use that one.
I just use the free stuff from YouTube.
I do that too.
I'm joking.
No, but I do. I use the free stuff too.
Yeah. Sometimes they have good stuff. I go there for sound effects sometimes. They have a lot of weird like sound effects you can get in there.
I make my own sound effects on my phone. Like if I need the sound of like somebody walking on rocks or something, because it will add to a video if you add those little sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
I'd go out there with my phone and I'll walk on the rocks in my thing. I've had the dogs barking and sniffing into my phone. I use all of that. It works.
It's awesome.
That's actually a great idea. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of. I'm starting to use it more and more as a little bit of sound, like a little bit of sound design.
Yeah, me too.
And one of the reasons, because I just did some drone footage for a developer, and this is why I always am on these things, like preaching that people like just learn their cameras a little bit more, like learn how to fly a drone, like learn what looks good on a drone, what doesn't look good on a drone. And so the other day, about 3 weeks ago, I went out, and it was this developer has 2 homes he's knocking down, and they back out onto a golf course. This golf course is in a valley, and it is probably the best footage I've ever shot in my life. Like, it was just the right time, the right moment. It looks like that probably once or twice a year. Like, the leaves were changing colors. And I've got this like overhead shot. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It looks like Augusta, Georgia. Like like it's the Masters promo commercial or something. And you can see the little golf cart winding over the path just as like a top-down view. And I just added the rumble of the cart just slightly in. But that developer is like, Brad, I'm building 5 $1.7 million spec homes there. And I've got 2 other lots south of the city. I just want to get some stuff before it's all frozen tundra and we can't market for 6 months. So because I got an opportunity to get the one video with the listing, it's now spiraled off into over $12 million of listings already for next year. And that's just simply so, like, what would you like? Do you even at that point in time, do you even say like, I don't know, is it worth buying the $3,000 camera?
Right.
Is it worth buying the $1,500 lens? It's like, it just is.
But I will preface this in the fact that you knew a little bit about cameras, you knew a little bit about filming and creating and stuff. If you have nothing and you don't know anything, I don't suggest you buy a $4,000 camera because you're going to overwhelm yourself. Start small and work your way up as you learn things. But you had that knowledge ahead of time. So investing in those things, you knew what to do with them. You knew how to work them. Did you know everything? Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, I mean, I honestly, I didn't know, like my very first listing video I did, my gimbal arrived the day that I shot it. Mm-hmm. So I was, it's the very first listing video I did. I got a camera. I'd never shot slow motion or did a speed ramp. I'd never balanced a camera on a gimbal. I went to YouTube. I had 7 hours at this house because it was my dad's listing that I had to beg because I was so new as an agent to get it. And he was like, fine, but that listing video better be up by like 1 o'clock tomorrow. And I was there till midnight, woke up at like 4 a.m, edited my first listing video. I'm still proud of it. It's still not horrible. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about it was I went there and I'm like, okay, there is nothing like the immediacy of having to do something to teach you.
Right.
And I would say like the reason you never buy the camera is because, well, your iPhone shoots 4K, and the reason you never learn is because you just don't ever have to do that. I would just argue that eventually it's going to be harder to defend your whole marketing plan if it's just purely shaky phone video. As more and more agents realize they have to do it, it'll just become noise. So I think at some point in time, we're going to want to do a higher level of quality so we can actually keep that separation between us and the rest of the market. There's another thing. I want everyone outside of my market to learn how to shoot and edit videos, create good content. I think it elevates our industry when we see like our clients being represented better, or even just hire a videographer, whatever it takes. But I want everyone in my market to see my content and think, I'm just gonna keep it direct mail.
Right. I tell them exactly how I do it. And you know what they say? It's too much work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I do my listing MLS videos on my cell phone.
Yeah.
With a gimbal.
Yeah.
And that's too much work for them. So
well, I'll tell you what, I will say there is one huge dagger in my theory that you need a nice camera and all this stuff. And it's Justin Godsey. Justin Godsey is an incredible creator. You can see his stuff on Facebook. He only uses a gimbal and an iPhone. His stuff looks like my stuff. He's just a fantastic creative. His listing videos are amazing. And it's just proof that you don't need the stuff. I love video. Like 10 years ago, I would edit little like handheld DSLR videos of my son when he was like 8 months old. You can still find them on Vimeo. You can find some of those old videos, but I didn't do anything for about 6 or 7 years. And then a couple of years ago, I started actually getting into it once I got my real estate license, and only because I did not know what I had to offer a client. I did not know why they should choose me over someone else.
Right.
Right.
Factor.
Yeah. And then, I knew I was like, okay, well, I'm a renovator and a designer. I understand construction, but still, who cares? Like, how does your market know that unless you can present that to them in a way that's compelling or interesting or engaging? Otherwise, like, it doesn't even, that's like saying the best singers are on the radio or the best guitar players are the soloists you heard during the 80s at a concert. It's not true. They're in their basement. They're just not marketers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying his don't look good, but he is a speed ramp freak. It's giving me a vertigo. Good Lord.
Yeah, he's real active in the RETV Facebook group.
Right? He's a speed ramp. He likes. Oh God.
if you look at it's still just super quality, right? Like,
no, I'm not saying that at all. No, no, it's way good. It looks way good.
Yeah.
Way good. And you can't tell that it's a cell phone. Nobody
Exactly.
knows when people walk. Because I do this as a side hustle for my old brokerage. My old they're older women that do not know how to do this, and I love them to
Yep.
death. So they're like, "Can you make me a listing video?" I'm like, on my way. And so I do it for them, and they are blown away that I do that with my phone. The clients are blown away that I do it with my phone. But editing and adding the good music that follows that edit, that adds to that whole thing. I had my client that I sold their house, I never even got the chance to do the voiceover. But when I added music that actually had words to it with, just very simple pop-up captions, she cried. She literally cried. She's like, I don't even know if I want to sell my house anymore.
Yeah.
And it was very simple, very simple video, but it just captured the house really well.
I think that's the next powerful thing though, right? Is the more you can add like a storyline or a story into your content, into your videos, it really, really captures the audience. Like I did one last year of a farmhouse with the builder sitting in it. And it's my favorite video I've ever made. I'm not in the video. And it's just him talking about his house. And when I went over to shoot it, I shot everything, like every element. And at the end of it, and I put it all together because it was over like 3 days. I was just blown away that a one-person crew could create this piece that on the end, on the whole, it didn't feel like it was me. It's called this one right here.
I saw this video. This was a good video. I like these because you feel like you're part of the whole story. It's almost felt like a documentary.
Well, and that was the thing, is that this was a home that unfortunately, like, he made it very unique and custom. Like, it was all these little pieces of material that he had salvaged, being a builder from different build sites all over Alberta. There's like pieces of our province's history that were put into this home. And, if you rely on just the buying agent to go and show this house and walk through it, it's like, why are the kitchen cabinets are kind of kitschy? Like they walk past this stuff and it looks just goofy or not really, like, you don't realize the story behind it. And then when someone tells you it's special and why it's special, then they stop and they look and they get really excited about it. And they connected with it. In this video here, when I sent it to him, he said, Brad, like when I pass away, I want this like played at my funeral. This is the story of who I am, like what drove me in my life. And like, I was just about in tears over it. Are you laughing at me, Christina? But it was like this, it was an opportunity to do something that had much more meaning to me than selling the house. Like, the commission is one thing, but like, I got to hear this person's story and that idea that we all have about home, like, means something different to so many people, but there's these same undercurrent, these values, our life, our stories, everything are done in these four walls. This was an opportunity to tell his story. And I just did not want to leave it to some agent to walk through and be like, I don't know why they did that with that. Like, why they painted the little fleur-de-lis on the hood fan. It's like, well, I felt like saying, screw you, because I'll tell you exactly why. Because he was inspired by these things. He saw this on like a childhood trip to Europe. Like, his family used to go on vacation in southern France. And like, these were the farmhouses that like reminded him of that. For me, it was the story. And what the cool thing is that,
did he sell the house? Did he get what he wanted for it?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, he did.
It's like, this is like heartbreaking. Like, I wasn't laughing. I was crying.
Well, it's one of those moments that you realize, like, oh, okay, we all talk about, we care about our clients, right? Every agent, you ask every agent what makes them special, they care about their clients. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that's a really hard thing to define. It's real. That's not a unique value proposition. Everyone cares about them. What I would say to anyone is just, well, show me how you do. Like, show me what you do. It doesn't have to be video marketing or listing video. It can be a whole host of different things that people do in their communities or volunteer work or whatever it is. But you need to have an answer to your clients that's a lot more than, well, just because I really care about you. And I think that's the part that a video like this makes me feel good about a commission-based sales job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes you more human. I do want to, Laura Pulaski. I might have to be saying your last name wrong, but I'm trying. She wants to know what a gimbal is. Could you explain to her what a gimbal is real quick?
Yeah, so a gimbal is essentially a tool that has 3 motors, and it controls the 3 different axes that we face, like left to right, front and back, and then up and down. And what that tool does is it takes your camera and it keeps it balanced. So when we're shaking and moving around like this, the camera's steady. And so if you're curious what a gimbal really does, there's something called a chicken gimbal. You can look it up on YouTube. And it's basically, if you hold a chicken and you move it all around like this, its head stays perfectly still in the middle. And that's exactly the concept behind a gimbal. It just takes your footage and gives you this nice, slow sort of pan movement without seeing all the shakes.
Yep.
And in a lot of ways, people are always talking about closing gifts and everything. This video is probably the best closing gift that you could ever give somebody.
Thank you forever.
Clients tell me that, they live in a home for 10 years, and having one final video tour of their property that really does their property justice. I mean, that's the best gift that you can give them. They can show it off to their friends on Facebook and then go back and revisit it and bookmark that video.
Not only that, I mean, look at Brad's. I mean, his looks like it stepped right off of HGTV.
I was really proud of this one.
You should be proud of all of them. There isn't one. I always say, this is like one of those things that every time Brad posts a video that I'm like, oh, look, another shitty video for Brad, because there isn't one that you've made that looks like shit. Never.
So I'll say this about my thoughts with my channels. Have you guys do you guys follow Ryan Serhant?
No.
I know who he is.
Okay. So I follow Serhant. I really like his vlogs, his like business vlogs on real estate, all that stuff. And I kind of followed him from when he started his YouTube channel, just a couple of years back to now. I think he's over 1 million. He's now left his small brokerage he was at and created his own brokerage. And he's got like 2 other YouTube channels. His other new YouTube channels are new enough that my videos still get more views, which makes me super excited because he's in some of those other videos. This is a fun one right here. I'm trying to add a little bit more personality in, right?
Right.
I was like, oh, the snow is gently falling. Winter has arrived in Calgary, right? And then the snow hits me and I'm like, damn it, come on, 2020. Anyways, but what I like about Serhant's channel is that Serhant's channel is really based around creating something that's entertaining, and like almost entertaining as being like, that's the first thing. He's definitely selling and he's presenting the property in it, and he's doing it more like episodic. So he's bringing in more people who are interested in real estate and getting other hosts and other people. So like Melinda and Tila could do their own episodic show on our channel. And I'm kind of using him as a bit of a model to sort of build out my audience to have more content without me necessarily being in it.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm bringing on another agent onto like my team so that I can start focusing more on videos and everything, and handing off leads to him. And I plan on incorporating him into a lot more of my local YouTube videos as well.
Yeah,
same thing. I think if you bring somebody into your video, it'd be a little bit easier to hand those leads off to somebody else. If they've kind of built that relationship, you kind of set that expectation time.
I think it's good that, like, I don't think that your new person should do the videos on her own, because then it looks like a disconnect from your actual videos themselves. But if if your wife is in them, it has a recognizable face. And then the other new person, eventually you can move away from that if she definitely is going to stay forever, but I would definitely have either you or her in every single one of those videos together. So that way there's not a disconnect. Cause I've seen it where people have done it where they're like, well, I have my buyer's agents do a couple of videos and then maybe once a month I'll do a video. It doesn't work. There's a disconnect in your content, because the ones that only work, if you look at the channel, are the ones with your face in it. The rest of them with your buyer's agents have hardly any views, because the recognizable face isn't there. And
I'm noticing that even with as I've been kind of watching Serhant's new channel, is he's tried to create, this is terrible, bad jokes here in this video, but with Serhant's channel, I noticed he's tried to create these little hosted shows, like one's called, I think, 3 in a Million, and they bring 3 different couples through $1 million home and they all have to guess the listing price. but he has a separate host. It's not him, and so he's not in the videos. And the idea is to keep spinning off and getting more views. And those ones are really facing challenges. They're not jumping off as quickly, even despite him promoting the channel and all of that stuff, because people are there to see Ryan Serhant, right?
Yes. Yeah, and as little, as tiny, as puny as we are, we're no Ryan Serhant that's been on television for the last 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
It's still the concept is still the same. They're there to see you and your wife and your family. So if there's some random person that's all of a sudden making a video on your channel, it's gonna fall flat. It's just not gonna work. You're gonna have to have either one or both of you in the videos.
Yeah. Fortunately, the video that it's moving, it's growing the fastest for me is a tour that I have myself, my wife, and my teammate in. So it's like the three of us in the video, and we all kind of show up in a few scenes all together, and then in a few scenes we kind of like branch off, and one person handles one part of the tour.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Which one?
And
I remember the bloopers from it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do a little bit of those as well. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, where we get most of our views are YouTube search. And so you're saying though the real goal is to move towards suggested or browse?
If you what is your goal for your channel? What is your future goal for your YouTube channel? What are you looking for? What do you want to happen?
As a narcissist, what I'd really like. No, I'm just kidding.
It's okay to say that. At least you're honest.
No, I mean, in reality, like I want business to come to me. I want people to be fans, so I never have to sell myself. I just have to sell homes, and that's really kind of the goal. And like ultimately, I love talking about this stuff. I love the videography side of things. My goal is probably to do a spin-off channel, more in line with sort of this stuff that I really geek out on, that I really enjoy. And, I'm hoping people would watch that. I don't, but that's not a financial goal. So, I mean, I don't know that my actual home channel, I'd like to just keep kind of diversifying. I'd like it to be sort of the one resource for information on Calgary, but right now it's more like the resource for tours of Calgary.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
but you do have a goal of views and subscribers, or you just want it to keep going the way it's going?
Oh, I have almost lost hope, Christina, that I'm going to release this. There's no listing tour, I don't think, that I'll release that'll just bump off and get 50,000 views in a few days.
I think it's bullshit. You're wrong.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
You are.
But like I see guys I see every once in a while like tours in Toronto or Vancouver, really big, wealthy, affluent cities in Canada, and they'll release a video and they'll have 35,000 views. And I watch the video, I'm like, this is shite. It's not as entertaining. It's just not that good. Right. And then I'll see guys like Enes Yilmazar, who, if you haven't heard of him, he's out of California. He just shows other agents' homes once a week. He does a video, and within a day and a half, he'll have 150 to 200,000 views. Wow. Yes, he's in California. Yes, it's beautiful. So he does have some of that like location, and more people are interested in seeing inside $1 million homes in California than Calgary. But
hold on, though, there are literally channels that all they do is tour mobile homes. Manufactured mobile homes. That's their whole entire channel, and they're filmed on a potato, and they get hundreds and thousands of views. So yes, your videos can blow up. Yes. Okay. 100%. Okay. It's very much possible.
Okay.
And yet it kind of goes back, like, do you want a local audience of people in Calgary, or do you want a big national audience like Christina has or Javier has? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I guess for my actual, like, my local real estate channel, I guess my goal really is to not ever have to do any paid advertising, at all, or lead generation at all. I'd like the vast majority. I'd like to just be constantly presented with softball listing presentations and business coming in because of the channel that I built. Because ultimately, as intriguing, as an exciting as YouTube AdSense could be, or brand deals or all that stuff, I don't feel like my channel is necessarily the home for that kind of content. I feel like I would much rather get the softball deals and do 4 or 5 deals in a month and make $40,000 or $50,000. That's, to me, seems like I don't want to lose the forest for the trees. Like, the goal here is have a really strong business, take care of my local clients. And then if I can shift to a different sort of direction or kind of build out my own sort of personal brand in the space, I would like to do that maybe on a different channel.
I have to ask you about this particular video right now because I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Did you get I think you got a lot of shit for this. Didn't you get a lot of like garbage about this because of the fact that they were like, you hired a dancer? How much did that cost? How much business did that bring you? I remember reading the comments in that and I'm going, people are just not getting it.
Yeah.
Like,
so this video, like, this is my idea, is just that Gary Vaynerchuk idea, whereas like if attention is the currency, right? And this one, like, it did well. It definitely did well. But anyone who saw it and who liked it, loved it. It also did some weird things locally that people on its face, they don't think about. So one thing was, I reached out to a local Facebook dance group with 2,500 members and said, hey, listen, I want to shoot a video. I've got this empty home. I'd love to support like a local like dance business, like someone who's got like a local business. Any good dancers apply. Like 10 or not, like at least 10 comments on it within like minutes. Like, is this a paid gig or are you just trying to tap into the artistic community and take from it? Right. And I'm like, no, paid gig. You guys tell me what it's worth. More than happy to pay for it. And then people were super excited, started tagging this post and tagging their friends who they thought would be good in it. And so this girl came out, and when we had the video done, it allowed us to get into this very like local group that is super strong and well supported, and share this video. We paid her, we promoted her business, and then she was super excited about it. And we got a lot of goodwill from it. So when you think of like leveraging a video, there's so many ways. It's like that idea of collaboration. It's not just a local influencer and, you know, in their market. It's actually like, what are all the different ways that you can really
help your
do
community.
something? Yeah. And so like for example, one of these things if you look at one of my recent tours, it was $1 million tour, $2.7 million tour. And that property, what's cool about it is, what's really, really cool about it is that I actually have a second video coming out in the next few days. But what we did was this property here, I brought in a local jazz singer who I found on Instagram, and she is so incredibly talented. We had her sing throughout the entire house, an old Victor Moan 1960s kind of big band style song. And it's because I wanted to provide the builder, who I'm going to be listing 10, 12 more $1 million worth of homes with. I wanted to provide him with exciting content that was not just branded to me. That was not just like, oh, Brad's my realtor. It's clear what's in it for him. So, you know, we took this same video, we cut out us in it and provided him 5 or 6 what I call Instagram shorts, like little 30-second clips of different highlights. So he can post that on his Instagram, have our videography, have some movement, some music, and then he'll just tag us. And if it doesn't tag us, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm like, this provides more value to him. How many listing presentations and new people would have to network with to generate $12 million in listings? Like, right. I want to just take care of him, and we've already got the content. So we're doing it that way. But what we're also doing with this video, we're trying to always do something that's a little bit more on the artistic side, like something artistic, creative, that pushes us, that we learn something. So much to the degree that we had to professionally record the song. And it's been like 3 weeks in getting it professionally recorded, using freelancers to remove vocals, getting other local musicians to beef up the background track, and then having my singer actually sing it. So when this video comes out in a few days, it starts off like you're watching an old episode of Johnny Carson, like about to announce the musical guest, like in front of the curtains kind of thing. And it's just my face in front of the curtains. And I'm like, hey, welcome back to the YYC Tonight Show. Coming up, local singing sensation, Nicole Dawn, everybody. And then the camera backs out and you can see that I'm just standing in front of curtains in front of this multi-million-dollar home. And like 2 people like whisk away the curtains and I back away, and then she walks up the walk and then it kind of enters into the thing. So we're doing this stuff. There's no return on investment. There's no quantifiable return on any of the investment. And so most agents are going to stop right there and not do it. But the quantifiable thing is people will talk about it. And you're a realtor selling homes, and people are going to talk about you like you're an artist, or you have a higher vision or some higher value to bring, or they're excited about it, or you're supporting local artists like at a difficult time, when they can't perform live in a lot of places. Like that is incalculable to get people to talk about you in that way. So for me, I don't care if it flops. If I have enough money to pay my mortgage and to put food on the table for my family and create a bunch of fun videos and just kind of keep going down this sort of path that I'm on right now, I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. I feel like that's what's filling my cup right now is the stuff I get to do that's a little bit more different.
I've always been that way too.
For you.
Smart, very smart. It's a better way to be, because if you're not sitting there trying to crunch the numbers, you lose when you do that. I think you lose that kind of like realness to a video anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think on the numbers, like if you crunch the numbers before you get into the industry, you don't even get into the industry. Yeah. Like you don't do anything, right? Like the numbers are almost always not in your favor of being like a notable success in your life. The cool thing that I just think like, of any note, right? But I look at myself and I think, well, all I wanted to do was be able to do this. Like if I could make a living busking on the corner and like pay my mortgage and do all that stuff, I would do that. I would love to just do anything creative, the rest of my life. But I also want a mortgage. I want to be able to travel with my family. Like I want a house and like I want to be able to provide for my family. So I had to find some way to balance commerce with like creativity. So the fact that we can have YouTube channels, have our own personality, share our own unique vantage point on the world, we can have an opinion. We don't have to be just completely glossy varnish all the time. It's unbelievable that these tools exist and that people aren't all going all 100% in on them. In fact, thank goodness they're not. Just by the time they do, we'll have audiences already that have stolen a lot of that space.
Yeah. And that's what I love about this is like you wanted your own HGTV type show and you're like, well, fuck, I'll go out there and make my own HGTV.
Yeah. No one's casting me. In fact, I have right now I'm in about 6 months ago, some local casting guy from Toronto, he's like, hey, listen, I think you guys would be great in an HGTV show. So right before COVID hit, he sent us over an agreement for like 12 months, like that he would try to pitch us. I don't want to be in a show. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I don't think the money's there. I think it just sucks. I don't think it would help my family out at all. But at the time, we were in Hawaii on vacation, and we were like, I don't know, it'd be fun. So we like sent it in, and we get all these comments from people like, you guys should have a show. And I'm like, I do have a show. I do. I do. It's a show about what I want to do, when I want to do it, when I want to release it. Like that's it.
And you don't have to answer to anybody. Isn't that the best part of a business?
Yeah.
The fact that you don't have to like sign off to anybody like, oh, well, and then you don't have anybody going, well, I really think that there needs to be an animation here. How come there isn't a bunch of bubbles that say that what kind of lights those are? I want arrows pointing that where it takes away from the whole video. You're like,
the worst. It's the worst. No, if you can do it your way, I think it works. And when I watch the YouTubers that I follow, like I just find they do it their way, and I watch them because of the way they do it, not because of their background or the sets or how well they covered them. Like I'll watch some tech reviewers and I'm like, well, you didn't even answer a third of my questions, but I love them. And so I'll just go watch 4 or 5 more reviews until I get all the answers I wanted. I wasn't looking for the guy to give me like the exact stats and all that stuff. Exactly. No BS. I'm fine with the extra. Like I watch a guy named James Matthew, a filmmaker, and he's all banter. His whole channel is just like banter and joking around. And it's so interesting to me. Like I watch it, right? Like, yeah, you might, some people are like that. I'm not there for that. Right.
Yeah, that's why everybody should make their own channel, because we're not everybody's cup of tea.
Exactly.
There's lots of people that don't like what I do, but there's a lot of people that do like what I do. I'm goofy as hell. Can't help it.
I love it. I love what you guys do. I love both your content.
And it's totally different from one another.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Malcolm has probably one of the most pleasing ways of presenting information. Like, it sounds, there's something about it, Malcolm, when you have a video and you are explaining the points about, a topic or your thoughts on it. There's something that just sounds so reassuring and comfortable and non-salesy. I really I sign up for it. And
very authentic and knowledgeable. That's how
completely,
yeah. Very authentic and knowledgeable.
And coming from such a good place. You get the sense of who Malcolm is as a person. Most people that watch his videos don't know that he does all of this on the side, all this free education, and just shares this with all his audience, with all these real estate agents. But you wouldn't be surprised. You would expect to know that if you knew him more because of that. And that's what's so cool about all this stuff. With your stuff, Christina, I love that you are so you, that you do not tolerate BS. I love that. You will not suffer a fool. I think that's great, but that's what I signed up for. That's why I subscribed. Right. So yeah, I think it's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Going back to what you're saying, so much of this is about building that relationship with your audience and really connecting with them. And I've deliberately been trying to get a lot less robotic in my videos and try to be more casual, you're really having a conversation with somebody. And what's interesting, and who's done this really well, is actually Javier, who we've had on this show several times. And he's built the most loyal subscriber base. And any video he uploads, it's instantly 10,000 views. And it's because of all these loyal subscribers that he has, and loyal people who are not subscribed but probably watch his stuff. And he does a lot of the live streams as well. And the whole point of that is just to build that relationship with the audience on a much, much deeper level.
What's his full channel name?
Javier Vidata.
I feel like, is he?
He's out of Arizona.
Okay. Nice.
I will say this too. He was the first one to tell his audience what a real estate agent is doing to them to snowball them. He was like, some of these real estate agents, this is what they're doing. They're really messing with you guys. This is what you should be doing. This is how you should handle this situation. He doesn't have a problem. One of my best live streams that still to this day is getting thousands of views. I just did it 2 weeks ago. And for me to get a live stream that's getting views after the fact is a miracle of Jesus. That one has almost 6,000 views. But the whole time we're talking about all the ways that the real estate agents are kind of tricking buyers, and how we've done things to help buyers get their house, whether giving up commission or, how we've had to backtrack and, show them what the behind the scenes stuff. And they're like, you guys are a rare breed. Mm-hmm. But it was because we were having a real conversation, and we don't have a problem saying this is the nasty tricks they're pulling on you. You know?
And what works really well for him is that he's had pretty much the same audience for 2-3 years now. He's been uploading the same type of content to the same audience. Whereas Christina, her type of content's kind of shifted in the last 12 months. And mine actually has too. At the beginning of this year, I was still making a lot of hyper local content. I've kind of shifted, but he's, probably had the same viewers for years now. And his content would probably kind of drive you crazy, Brad, because he never leaves his office. Everything's just shot in his one little studio.
But Brad, if you want to watch a video that darn well, it is just one take. I think it probably has maybe 3 edits in it. But it's so honest and from the heart, is the one that says the housing market sucks for my buyers. This housing market sucks for my buyers. Yeah. You could hear his true just desperation for his clients and what he had to go through and how ridiculous things are. And it was just such an authentic video coming from the heart that, of course it's got 83,000 views. Of course.
He's crushing it. He's probably making good money with AdSense right now too. And really just in the last 6 months, his channel's really blown up as well. Just with the whole, the housing market, how it is and everything.
See, I could make this exact video, but for sellers, because in our market, every home I've sold in the last year, almost no one made money on. Like almost everyone lost money on from when they actually purchased it. If they bought it in the last 2 to 8 years, they've lost money. Wow. It's nuts. That's how bad our market is here.
That is so not like here.
Yeah. This market's completely opposite of us.
Oh, completely. Like, honestly, and like COVID came, and obviously having a video based audience was like a real crazy, benefit for us. Mm-hmm. But we have like the thing that is really attracting people to us right now is like this is their most expensive asset. They're going to lose money. They want to control those losses as much as possible. And so we're doing everything we can on our marketing side to stem that. Like, so I worked with some sellers last night. We closed the deal, and they were at their absolute limit at $1,292,000. Like, would not go a penny lower. That was their 6-figure loss mark. The buyers would not go past $1,282,000. I had to sell the other agent on giving up $5,000 of his commission if I'd do the same thing. And I knew that, it was one of those things where, hey, everyone's losing here. Like, I mean, I'm going to still make a great wage. Like, I'll be able to give up 25% of my wage and take care of my family for 2 months on just one of the 3 deals I did this week. So like, that's not sacrifice. Let's be honest. That's not sacrifice. But for my clients, it sent a very clear message to them. Hey, we're in this together. Like, that's it. And my message to them was, guys, I don't believe 6 months from now, like, take it off the market, we don't get an offer right now, we go back on the spring or something like that. I don't believe we're going to do this good. Mm-hmm. I actually, and so much so that I will give up part of my commission. I told them, point out, like, they're wealthy physicians, so it wasn't a big, as big a deal for them. It's not easy to lose money, but not as bad. They're going to be okay. They're
not destitute.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. But I told them, I said, like, look, if this was the difference, you guys, I will, like, if this means or is adding stress or anything for your family, like, my family's okay. We'll back out our commission altogether. I don't care. I've gotten other listings and work from your property. I'm fine. And they're like, we'd never asked that from you in a million years. They were just shocked that we could get the other agent to bring the $5,000 of his commission, because he's got those buyers regardless. So he doesn't need to do anything, right? But
maybe the buyers are kind of assholes and they're ready to get rid of them. They're like, please, no more houses.
The buyers are leaving back to one of their 3 homes in Hong Kong. They got Hong Kong, Shanghai, all that stuff, right? So we're looking at this thinking, well, if they don't buy this one, he's not selling him a house, so he's going to lose all his commission. So something's better than nothing. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm just not driven by the idea of like the chairman's club or something at Remax and trying to make that. And I actually think we live at a time where you can do the right thing enough times. And if enough people if you have a platform where enough people can know that, they'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about the individual deal or the individual commission. Like, you'll just have this groundswell of people around you. I've got that at 3,000 subscribers, which is nothing compared to so many people out there, which is huge to me. But even my wife, she was at an office the other day, and the doctor comes in and she's like, I was at my friend's house, and my friend was like, hey, listen, have you seen this $1 Million Tours? Like, this $1 Million Tour series in Calgary? And she like plays the video, and because you're my patient, I couldn't say that you were my patient, but I just sit there and I was like, oh, I think I've seen these people before. And then she was telling my wife at like her checkup, like, yeah, I actually saw you and your husband walking around this like gorgeous home. And you're like, it's nuts. The people that referred the video to her were acting as if it was a TV series. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, wait until you go to the restaurant and they go, if you go to the restaurant and you're with the kids, they're gonna be like, are you the people from that TV series? Like, my kids hate it now because I'm the only local person that does it. And they're like, at first they thought it was cool, but now they're teenagers and they're like, God, it's so embarrassing. Because there are a few of those videos, but yeah.
For all the agents that are starting in their market, those first few leads you get from YouTube or the first time you get noticed somewhere, it's the canary in the coal mine. It's the sign that something's working in your market. Like it's just beginning. You don't even know how many seeds you've planted. It's not yet harvest time, right? But it is huge how much it makes a difference. And I know one thing for me is because I do the video side, a lot of the local videographers who shoot other real estate agents stuff want to go hang out. They want to go like hang out, get together, let's film a little bit. They want to, and what's funny is like one of them is like, listen, we're doing a video right now and it's saying the closest thing you'll get to Brad's videos without hiring Brad. Like, and that is their marketing thing, because they're like, every agent that's calling him up is saying, I want Brad. I want you to do what Brad McCallum's doing in his, like for his videos. Can you guys do what Brad does? And so I just think if the agents are noticing, like if the agents, and like these are agents that are like $700,000 to $1 million producers in a year, if they are watching little old me, been an agent full time for a year and a half, like if they're watching, then I'm like, I must be doing something that's resonating.
Yeah, you're gonna win. You're gonna win big time. 2 more years from now, we're gonna be going, hey Brad, can you help us with our YouTube channel?
Yeah, no.
What secrets do you have for us
now that you're collaboration with Ryan Serhant?
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Goes up.
Or I could even see it with Graham Steffen.
Graham would be dope.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see it like, I'm in Calgary and I'm going to visit my friend Brad and we're going to go look at some foreclosed properties together. I can just see it. Oh, you're going to be all big. Too big
no, not at all. All I want to do is take care of my family and have fun during my day job. That's it. And create a bunch of videos and hopefully, yeah.
Sorry, Malcolm and Brad. I do have to get going.
Hey.
That's probably a good time to head out.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to, like, you guys could continue to talk. I just have to get to an appointment.
No problem. I've got some showing requests I got to approve, and one of them's coming up in a couple hours. So
yes. All right.
Brad, before we go, you've got a show as well, right? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I do have a show as well. I got a show with my buddy Bob Tompkins. Out of South Carolina. Our show is called The Brad and Bob Show. You can check it out on pretty much your favorite podcast player, or you can just go over to facebook.com/The Bob and Brad Show. And basically all we talk about is just personal branding, just anything around personal branding, whether it's listing videos or parody videos or setting up your home studio. We're just having conversations around that. And the whole show was generated out of this idea that I find a lot of us, when COVID hit, we were all kind of struggling, like, hey, what do we do? And I love the community that Facebook provides. That's what drove me to keep going with my videos and seeing the amazing content that other agents were producing on places like RATV, or the successes that they're sharing on YouTube, over on your channel, on your group guys. Like, I just thought I want to be a part of it. I want to have more conversations with people like that, because it just motivates me for my own business.
I think that's the best way to keep motivated, is to be around people that are interested in doing the same thing that you're doing, or at least what you want to accomplish, even if they're not in real estate. One of the smartest things I ever did was not talk to people that were doing real estate content. It isn't until this year I actually started talking and working with real estate agents, because I'm like, these people have no idea what they're talking about, because they were salespeople, and they were like, well, you have to ask for them to do this, and you have to tell them to do this, and what's your call to action? You got to do that call to action right away. I'm like, why are we asking for all this stuff? That's gross.
Yeah,
like they're begging for all this stuff, and you haven't given them anything. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, so I had to like kind of disconnect from all of that, because they don't know what they're talking about, and I had to get with people that knew how to get somebody to watch a video.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much, Brad, coming on.
Thank you, Brad, so much. Lots of knowledge there. Lots of knowledge bombs. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.